Maybe there is, though.
I don't have a stick up my ass.
You weren't even here.
The stick has me up its ass.
I'm just kidding.
I am the stick. I'm the ass.
Literal
of that stick. What?
dumbness. Literal dumbness shirt.
That is some literal dumbness right there.
It's a funny one. It's just literal dumbness. Capital D, capital M, capital N.
Just look at Zayd and all his literal dumbness.
Yeah.
You are literally retarded.
The reason why I like literal dumbness so much is because not only, like, it is accurate to say, but at the same time, you sound so dumb.
Yeah.
Saying literal
yeah.
irony.
That's why it's like, I have
ironic.
numbness to your dumbness. This is how a note starts. Numbness.
Dumbness to your numbness.
Your dumbness brings me numbness.
Yeah, literally.
No, you know what? That's actually a perfect example. Like, you ever have that moment where you're in an argument with somebody, like, for example, what we were talking about earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where somebody says something that is so counterintuitive to what you were saying, like, and it's not related to your conversation whatsoever. You're just like,
Yeah.
or even better, if it's just so dumb, like what they're saying, you're just like, oh. Like when you have that moment where you need to take a second for your,
Let's try to think of an example.
That's literal dumbness. When somebody says something that makes you go like, oh,
God. Oh my God.
that is the dumbness to my numbness.
Yeah. What?
I'm trying to think of an example.
I know I had that reaction recently. I don't remember what it was though.
Like you're talking about something, a specific subject, and you get into technicalities, and then they they just throw out a word that has nothing to do with it. Like that?
I mean, that could be one. That definitely could be
I'm trying
one.
to think of an example, though.
Or it's like where they try to ride the train to your thought, but then it ends up missing and going the opposite direction, and you're like, where is this? That has nothing to do.
There's just a moment of silence that just lingers.
Like the best moments where that happens are like in arguments that are usually about the three things like you shouldn't talk about on dates and then some, right? So that'd be like politics and shit. Like, for example, environmentalism, stuff like that. And like, I'm trying to think of an example that has to do with the meat-spiracy shit you were talking about.
Spears.
Or sorry, cowspiracy.
Oh, okay.
That you were talking about. And it was like, or what about the methane thing where you're saying 18% of global CO2 output is produced by cows, right? Like, if you just say that, I mean, that sounds like a scary, scary number. And it definitely is. Because if you think about it, like, there's cars, there's planes, there's trains, there's oil companies, there's all this other shit that's producing CO2. But, like, just cows, like, one animal is 18%, right? So you're talking to somebody, you're trying to break it down, like, how cows produce that 18%, blah, blah, blah. And then they just jut in with, like, but Meatspiracy said it was 51%, and I trust everything they say with impunity. You're just like...
Cringe.
You need to work on yourself.
It's like
and
you're
then
basing
that's when you walk away.
It's like you're basing all of that information on one study that was conducted by a group that like had vetted interests and making sure that the meat industry gets taken down.
Where that one person got the same info.
Oh, remember?
Or they had the same advantages as you. Research.
Yeah. Remember the guy who was being interviewed on that video when you came?
Oh yeah, that one guy who's being interviewed on that one video when I walked in. Yeah, that's that guy.
The guy that. Oh,
the guy
okay.
with the.
Yeah. Oh, the guy that.
No, you should probably say his name and what the video.
No,
was
I forgot
about.
his name.
Oh,
but it was from a YouTube video, right? Is that what it is? What video?
I think it was Vimeo. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry. That's a perfect moment of literal dumbness.
Yeah.
You mean that? Oh yeah. You remember that one song that played that one time at that place? Oh yeah. I remember that. For
dude,
sure.
I remember. Yeah, dude. We even
crystal clear.
Dude, we walked around too. We even turned the corner. Remember? We pissed. Dude, that was crazy. Crazy night. You see where I went? It was a crazy night. Yeah, I've had plenty of
the silence lingers after that kind of moment.
That's like that literal dumbness moment.
Yes.
That's perfect.
That is literal dumbness, dude.
But what were you trying to say?
About
that one guy in that one interview on YouTube?
Not even YouTube. He said maybe Vimeo.
So the reason why momentum picked up with the whole meat is bad for the planet is because there was an original paper done in 2005 or 2006 that stated 50% of the emissions or whatever came from agriculture, right? He's also a professor somewhere. Some established...
some guy who was interviewed on YouTube is a professor somewhere. Sorry, maybe Vimeo. Maybe. Continue.
He even wrote he debunked that paper. He wrote in the comments his specific reason why
His
the
gripe.
paper is wrong, and the authors of the paper was like, yeah, this guy has a point. But I don't know.
So the author of a mystery paper got called out by a guy who was interviewed on YouTube who conducted his own study on something.
Yeah, so
Precisely.
Which, by the way, the study has been narrowly named. It's just CO2 output by cows.
so
Precisely.
someone somewhere had a point.
Yes. Somewhere at a point.
Okay, I'm sorry, but yeah, no. I totally get that. I want
Jesus fucking Christ.
That's going on TikTok.
Somewhere in some
At a point.
somewhere in some faraway land at a point. That's definitely going on TikTok.
That's a Zaydism.
Yeah,
right
that's going
there.
on TikTok.
That's a Zaydism.
Yeah, just an ism in general.
I guess we totally
But
forgot about
I
your,
honestly, I
God.
you lost me. I don't know what the hell. The last thing I remember was 18%. Okay, so how did we get that number?
No, we already talked about this. We're not talking about it.
I know, but I want to just recap real quick.
No, I said earlier there was a study that was conducted by a group of individuals who
Yeah, that had a documentary called Cowspiracy.
Well, not just them. The Cowspiracy documentary, they took this study, right, which the study was created by people who had a vetted interest in stopping meat production, right?
Yeah.
So they came up with their estimation of 51%. Now, the guy somewhere on YouTube who was being interviewed, possibly Vimeo,
Yeah.
he made a counterclaim that no, it's not 51%. It's more realistically 18%. And then other scientists, they evaluated both the 51 and the 18% claim. The 18% claim is more valid.
accurate,
It has more concise research conducted on it,
Mhm.
and so they decided to go with that one,
Yeah.
right?
So
And then Zayd also claimed that the people who came up with the 51% figure said, "Yeah, our bad." That was the conclusion. They came to.
Okay. Gotcha. So Cowspiracy, from what I remember, was just all like a lot of it was falsified. Like
A lot of
most
it was bullshit. They were just throwing
right?
out claims that were not true.
Yeah. So they were. I don't know what was the point of the film.
It was,
vegan propaganda. It's plant-based
Okay.
propaganda.
which
like-
begs the question: is the next one that he came out with,
So-
Seaspiracy, is that propaganda as well? I mean, you could argue that the amount of fish, like by species, in terms of how many of them are in the ocean,
Mhm.
like those numbers might be a little, who knows?
I would say
because-
there's more truth to it.
I would agree. There's more truth, but like he said, for example, bluefin tuna populations have dropped 99%.
Yeah.
In the past, what was it, like 20 or 30
It's a
years
big
or something?
fucking
like
number.
that? Yeah,
But-
that's astounding.
Honestly, this whole episode is turning out to be literal dumbness because here's a thought for you. So those group of individuals that decided to, know the truth but put out the false information.
Well,
You can't skip the truth when you're doing research, dude. It's there for you.
also
There
did
are
they-
going to be resources that tell you, the higher
Yeah.
percentages that you're looking for, right?
Now that begs the question: like, did they know the exact truth that it was 18%? That's up for speculation.
Yes,
you know?
Here's
but
the
that
thing.
you said it's more valid. They didn't say 18% is the correct value.
You know how they got the 51% number because they took animal agriculture and factored in everything that has to do with it.
Mhm.
For everything else, in terms of like cars and all that other stuff, they only looked at exhaust emissions. They didn't look at like construction. They didn't look at all the things that they didn't take into account the full gamut of.
because they view those as separate industries.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which would make more sense. So the 18% figure is just cows, like just their
Cows
emission.
and other animals who contribute to it.
Okay, so not
Okay.
just cows. That's just livestock in
Mhm.
general, is what you're saying.
So it's more ignorance than
Yeah.
dumbness.
Yeah. Well,
the 51% is misleading. That's what it is, because
Yeah.
what they're doing is they're combining all these other attributes that are involved in agriculture into one thing, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
So they say cows in the 51%, but what they're really talking about potentially is like a whole myriad of industries. So that's like automotive, you have construction, like you said, you also have the water resource industry, like other shit like that.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
what does this prove exactly?
Essentially, what this proved was that that 51% claim was grossly overestimated, and livestock really outputs about 18% of the CO2.
That meat
Okay.
is not bad for the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, if you want to, I mean, the CO2 output, like, that's not great. you know, because they're putting, what is it, billions of tons of CO2 into the atmosphere every year, which is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also said that when you compare, for example, like thousands of years ago, how many ruminants we had on the planet, it's almost identical to the number we have now.
How many what we have?
Ruminants. So cows, bison, animals that eat grass and then contribute CO2 to the atmosphere.
Okay, but I wouldn't say that that number was equal to all the other industries.
He said they're almost equal to.
So you're just talking about in terms of livestock.
Yeah. Just
okay,
livestock.
that would make more sense to me.
Gotcha. But just specifically cows is obviously a lower percentage.
Yes,
Yeah.
specifically just las vacas.
Like
It's a
for
lot lower.
Japan, it's 1% of emissions.
Cows.
All of their livestock, 1%.
Well, it makes sense. They don't have a lot of space for it for the most
For
part.
the U.S., it's around 4 to 5.
Damn.
Actually, if you put it in that sense, like Japan's got a way higher CO2 output just by animals than the U.S. Like even though we have 4 to 5 and we definitely put out more CO2, but like CO2 per capita, like if that makes any sense,
We don't know.
That's actually it's got to be higher than the U.S. as I would imagine, because there's a lot less people in Japan than there are in the U.S.
They also probably produce a lot of meat for the world, so
Japan,
maybe.
they definitely
Like Wagyu.
They are definitely the best provider of A4 Japanese olive Wagyu, which I tried in Las Vegas. And let me tell you something.
Bro.
Audience and you two, if you ever get the chance and you save up enough money, because it's very expensive, and luckily enough for me, I did fairly well at gambling while I was there. So basically gambling paid for this dinner. But if you got enough money saved up and you're in a spot where they have verified Japanese A4 olive Wagyu steak,
do it.
you send it.
Olive?
Full send.
Yeah, that's like the full, or olive is like a specific type of the.
So there are different types.
There are different types. There's, I believe there's, and I think it's actually narrowed down by like the farmer, right? So I think olive is like a specific farmer of A4. I didn't have the olive variety, but I had verified Japanese A4, which is the creme de la creme when it comes to steak, right?
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. You know, when you got a fillet or a ribeye and it's cooked right, it's cooked well, you know, you can theoretically, you could cut it really with a butter knife, right? This shit, by the way, let me set the scene, right? We're in Vegas, we did well, made enough money. I'm like, let's go have a really nice dinner. Like it was our last night. So we go to this place. I forget what the name of it is, but it's in Mandalay Bay, a Japanese restaurant. We sit down, look at the menu. I see it's on the menu. I have to have it. $22 an ounce. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get a really good ribeye, like at the grocery store, for 20 to 24 bucks, right?
Yeah.
So 22 for an ounce, right?
So what's the minimum ounce?
4.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
What did you got it for?
I got 4. Yeah, just as the minimum, because we had other stuff that we wanted to eat.
Yeah.
You know, so because Vegas, like people don't realize, Vegas actually is probably one of the best culinary hubs on the planet, right? Because you have the best culinary minds all congregate there at one point or another. They get the best ingredients flown in from all over the world, like the most specific fishing villages in like Greece, Italy. Like they get all that shit.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So when you go to Vegas and you're at a good restaurant, you're gonna get good shit, but it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Right. That's why you got to save up some money for it.
Yeah, you want to have a good dinner. Better have some
Exactly.
good money.
So we sit down, order the steak, all this other stuff, get the salad that comes in first, and we got these pork, these barbecue pork buns, which were, oh my god, dude! Like
Can't relate.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah, sorry.
I'm halal, bro.
I know you could probably get beef if you asked, but like it was pork on the menu, so whatever. That we got some sushi, which was pretty good. I would actually argue that their seafood there is not as good as like meat and chicken and vegetables and shit like that, but it's still really good. Like, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But got that, and then the steak, the centerpiece for the meal.
It's just juicy.
It comes on the plate, and it's about this big.
Yeah.
Like that big, right? It's a tiny, tiny steak. And it's just the perfect cook. Like, we asked for medium rare. It was medium rare the entire way through. I don't even know how they did it, because the outside was like super, super crisp. Like, you know, just how you want a steak to have that good char. But for some reason, there wasn't like that thin char layer around the outside. It was like perfect medium rare the whole way through, which to me means they probably sous vide it, or they put it in a sous vide, cooked it to the proper temperature, and then just like threw it on a grill at like 600 degrees, you know, just for like a quick sear on the outside. So off the bat, great cook, great preparation. Sides came with it. The sides that came with it were amazing. But then there's a steak. The steak came pre-sliced, which I was kind of bummed about, but I don't really care because it's the best steak on the planet.
Yeah.
You know, and you get it on the fork. We got just the end caps, right? Like just the little pieces at the end. I pick it up with my fork. I bring it over to my plate, and I just kind of bent the fork, like for whatever reason. The meat literally just separated and fell onto the
That's
plate.
amazing.
That's buttery smooth.
No
right there.
pressure.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I applied zero pressure. I turned my fork and it's just right on the
That's
plate.
so good.
I put it into my mouth. The waiter, I think he recommended that you press it against the roof of your mouth, like your first bite, just to see what it's like.
Mhm.
So I did that, and I pressed it against the roof of my mouth, and it's just
Disintegrate.
it dissolved.
Dude, it's like Thanos was there.
Dude, it was like in your mouth, and then
Gone.
and it just erupted into like fat and beautiful muscle tissue, and like the flavor.
Immense.
Dude, by itself, with just salt and pepper, I imagine, it was better than any steak I have ever had, and it was just a piece that was like that big.
It's amazing.
Like I would take this piece right here, that was this big, right? Super tiny.
Got a thumbnail.
I would take that over, like, as ridiculous as this sounds, a 12-ounce ribeye.
Mm.
That one bite to me would be more worth it.
So much flavor it packed.
I'm not even kidding with you, Zay. When we took a bite into it, we started giggling like children.
Yeah.
I've never eaten anything that made me do that to that degree.
Damn.
It was like you put it in your mouth. Like,
No, would you say it's hands down the best flavor you've ever experienced out of all food?
It's in the top 3.
Damn.
And that's with nothing else on, just meat.
So imagine Japan, bro.
That's why I want to go there. There's there's a farm. I forget what the name of it is, but you can go there and they'll like, prepare the steak for you. Keep in mind the steak is like $800.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But the cool thing is they show you the cow that they're getting it from. Not alive, right? They show you what the cow was. They give you like a full
Show you the
detail.
cow
No,
alive?
I'm not kidding. They give you like a piece of paper with a picture of the cow. They give you like at least 2 to 3 paragraphs about how it was raised, what it was eating, where it grazed.
Yeah.
It's like how it got massages, shit like that.
That's like looking up a serial number, dude.
They take
Yeah.
it seriously
Yo,
because
bro,
like
hey,
a
Carfax,
craft.
Carfax,
As-
that Cowfax. Put the VIN number real quick.
but it's like as ridiculous as it sounds,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if that steak I had was 22 an ounce, think about the whole cow.
Yeah, seriously.
Mhm.
Like how much money would that even be? Like 60 to 80,000 a cow? Probably more. Right? Because
Probably.
not only are you getting just that prime cut that they're looking for, you have the rest of the beef, which
Yeah.
is not as good, but still better than any steak you're going to buy in a grocery store.
It's the 911 Turbo of cows.
It is.
Yeah.
And it was a fatty
No,
cut.
it's the, you know what it is? It's not the 911 Turbo of cars or of steaks. That would be like your filet. Like your filet
Your
is the
filet.
911 steak. What this is like your 1960s Porsche Speedster.
Okay.
It's rare, unbelievably,
You want
or
it.
like highly valued, right? And it's just good.
was there a
it's
lot of
just
fat on
good.
it?
It's like 50-50 fat and muscle fiber.
What color was the fat?
Yellow.
That's how you
It's
know
like
it's good.
I mean, like it's white, but not like paper white. It's like almost more of a creamy texture. It's not like yellow like chicken fat like you're thinking of, but it's still yellow, right?
Wow.
It's dude.
It's an indicator of a good quality.
Yeah.
All
Steak,
I
too.
can say is just dude.
Dude. Yeah.
Like if we ever go to Vegas, because we'll probably go there. If we ever go to Vegas or Japan, I'm now setting up a steak fund. I'm not, dude. It
2
sounds
a.m. steak fun.
it sounds ridiculous.
No, I'm for it.
But I will say this, right? And I don't mean to be blasphemous, but it's very blasphemous what I'm about to say. When I was growing up, you go to like church and stuff like that. Like I always thought to myself, when I grow up, I'll believe in this and like I'll be a better person because of it, right? But I never got that feeling of what it was like to be religious or like have that connection with God.
Being a believer.
When I bit into that steak,
I was a believer.
dude, I had a slight moment
Yeah.
of, you know
I
what?
believe.
I'm like, maybe God is real. Because like
God is real.
Like for real.
Can you imagine that's what pushes him to the religious side is
The fucking
steak?
Japanese.
No, because
Wagyu.
only something divine would allow something that delicious to exist.
Yeah, that's why
Right.
you appreciate.
And now
things.
I know people made that happen. Like, the Japanese, they bred those cows and treated them very specifically to do that. But to allow something that delicious to exist is divine territory. Like, it was
I agree, yeah.
unbelievably good.
Yeah. I got to experience that.
And the only reason I say it's in the top 3 and not number 1 out of the gate is because I don't remember everything that was the best thing I've eaten. But maybe it is number 1 because I'll remember that shit the rest of my life. Like, hands down. Maybe it was the best thing I ever ate.
I would
like,
say I would go for it.
It's
Put it
pretty
at
up
number
there.
1 and then
I'll put it at number 1.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That shit was unreal.
What was number 2, mac and
My
cheese?
mouth is watering.
mac and cheese from El Pollo Loco. What?
No, dude, straight out of the Kraft
This
box,
is-
bro. That's what you want.
Yeah, that's number 2.
You want the
Number
powder,
3,
dude.
ramen.
Miss
Oh.
me with your Velveeta. Give me that
Yeah.
powder.
Yeah,
Give me
powder.
that bullshit.
Dude,
Like,
look,
God,
listen.
dude.
If you're doing like mac and cheese the way we're thinking right now, it's Kraft only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
And I'm not talking about SpongeBob. I'm not talking about the
Mm-mm.
other ones. I'm talking
the
about
tubes,
just
baby.
the tubes.
Give
Yeah.
us the tubes.
Yes, sir.
I don't even know if I know what that tastes like.
You do.
I guarantee
Because you're
probably-
coming
That
over
was that was
tonight.
not a part of my childhood.
I guarantee you've eaten it at least one point in your life.
Probably.
Yeah.
I just don't remember.
I mean, like, let's be real. It's not that great of a mac and cheese. I've had way better mac and cheeses
Yeah.
than that. But
Of
like,
course.
I mean, as a staple,
Throwback.
There we go.
not too shabby.
Bingo.
As like just a OG, like just something to grasp onto, or maybe a baseline would be a better word for it.
Yeah.
Mm.
But like when you go to a fancy restaurant and I'm on food, I'm hungry. I'm so hungry,
Fancy.
dude. I'm so hungry.
Yeah, I feel you.
But like when you go to a fancy restaurant, and you sit down and you see on the menu as like a side that you can get is lobster mac and cheese.
You best believe you're going that.
Lobster is that actually lobster mixed with mac and cheese or
Yeah.
Lobster meat.
cheese?
Real lobster mixed in with mac and cheese.
No, he's
I
probably picturing like a lobster swimming in a.
You ever
No,
had
no,
that?
no,
You
no.
ever had that shit? Have you ever had that?
I have
Lobster
not,
mac and
no.
cheese? I need
No.
to take you to a place where they got it, man. Like
Probably
it's
Disneyland,
so
huh?
bougie and it's like expensive, but like, dude, they got like fine, like a good white cheese, some good sharp notes in there. It's usually like a shell situation with the mac and cheese, and then you got the lobster, which was just boiled to perfection, mixed in with some butter, and then to top it off, they get some olive oil that's got what's it called? Like white truffle in it.
It's a 2 a.m. culinary experience.
Dude, my mouth is watering. Like, I need to keep swallowing every couple minutes.
Thank God I have my shake.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
Actu-
by the way, you need to explain what happened to you yesterday.
Oh, before we get there, sorry, I just wanted
Yeah,
to throw out
yeah.
one little fun fact about lobster that I learned the other day. So there's this dude on YouTube. He's got a channel, and I wish I could remember the name so I could give him a shout out. But he essentially does like early settler style cooking, where it's like from when the country was founded. Or country, I mean the U.S. was
Yeah.
founded, and he like finds old recipes from like the set that dates back to like the 1700s,
cool.
1800s, and he tries to replicate them. A lot of the times they're terrible. Right.
Mhm.
A lot of the times you're just like, because they didn't know back in, like, they didn't really have culinary arts in America to the extent that they had maybe in Europe at the time. Right. But,
Different game.
So he's trying that, but he came across this one recipe, and I forget exactly what the dish was. I think it was like essentially just like a lobster sandwich. Right. And what was really funny was when he was talking about lobster, he like gives a history lesson along with this shit. Right. And, he was saying that lobster back in the day was like a peasant food. Like it was saved for the worst of the worst people, like usually
Wow.
prison
Really?
inmates, because it was so prominent, right?
Dude.
Because essentially, like if you think about it, like the waters back in the day, they weren't very polluted in your
Yeah.
harbors, which is where all of the lobster lived.
Mm.
So you could just sit on the dock, throw a lobster trap over, and probably get like 4 to 5 within an hour,
Mhm.
depending on where you were at. So
That's insane.
yeah, and they also viewed lobsters as bottom feeders, so that they weren't like the best that you could get.
What is
right?
this peasant
Yeah,
food?
I don't know if you guys knew, but in the 1700s, Wagyu was actually for the peasants.
I don't think Wagyu was a thing.
I
bro.
wasn't a thing. Yeah, I know. But that's literally what it's like.
But yeah, so it's like
Well,
he was
what the hell?
describing this, and he was like, "Yeah, they would save lobster for like prisoners." And shit like that. But you also have to think like I don't think they were
God, dude.
preparing lobster the same
Yeah.
way.
Only
back
the
then.
only the elite got Big Macs. what a time to live. Here's your lobster, you peasant.
But like, if you look throughout history, I
You
mean,
fucking peasants.
That sentence just bothers me.
it's
Yeah, of
like
course.
if you look throughout history, some of the food that we love the most today was like eaten by common folk. Like a lot of the shit that was eaten by royalty, we just it's
Pizza.
disgusting.
What did
Well,
royalty eat?
Pizza was actually started as a royalty food, I believe.
Yeah.
It was created by a peasant for royalty in
Beat
Italy.
my royalty food, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was basically just bread with tomato sauce.
Look
and,
at
like,
it now, bro. Like, there's these places that I go to, like the place I took you. That place is expensive, dude.
Yeah.
What
for,
place?
For a damn small pizza, huh?
What is it?
It's in it's by your house actually.
Yeah. It's Costa Mesa.
It's right next to the triangle.
What's it called? El
I have no idea.
El Dolce.
Dolce.
Yeah.
And
There
it
we
was a
go.
pizza place?
Yeah.
Why would you go to it? Okay.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
anyway,
Huh?
no, I'm thinking like
It's like
What
an
are you talking-
artisan
It's
pizza
an amazing
place.
pizza.
oh, El
it's
Dolce
great.
Italian. I'm
Yes.
thinking sorry, I'm thinking Spanish.
Oh no.
My
We're not-
bad.
we're getting Spanish pizzas.
Yeah, I'm like, what the No, it's Italian. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, dude, we got the Santa Fe spicy fajita pizza. Pretty bomb.
And then we got
No,
a
no,
margarita.
it was
No, we got a
Italian. It was literally a
margarita.
margarita, and we got a marinara.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Because that's what it's about. Like, honestly, if I try a new pizza, I'm gonna try the margarita out first.
Like the
you know?
fundamentals.
Especially if you claim that it's authentic.
It was excellent. I mean, it was
it
light,
very fiery. You could taste
fluffy
the,
dough.
Yeah, you could taste like the stone. Oh my god, it's so good. Like that
When
charredness.
you get that good stone flavor, that's when you know your pizzas, they're doing something right in the back.
Yes.
But to go back to what Zayd
Yeah.
was talking about, I almost accidentally died, or at least would have been in the ER and been messed up the rest of my life because I'm an idiot.
Mhm.
So, long story short, I created a chemical mix in my bathroom while I was cleaning it, right? I was trying to just clean my shower. And in the process of doing this, I created
Haven't heard this before.
in the process of cleaning my shower, right? I essentially created what was dropped on the trenches in World War I, which is chlorine gas.
God damn.
And yeah, I accidentally inhaled some of that shit, and it messed me up for about
32
2
hours.
days. Like, yeah,
That's insane.
I was ruined. So, long story long, let's go. Let's go there.
We've got time. This is a podcast.
I woke up. I'm like, I'm a piece of shit. Like, my room's a mess. My bathroom, I need to clean it. Like, I tossed out like a bunch of my
He's on the
wardrobe.
Jordan
Okay,
Peterson
how about this?
grind.
Let's back up. You're not a piece of shit. You're just backed up.
No, no. What happened? I'm like, I'm looking around in my room and like in my bathroom and in my closet specifically, and I'm like, I'm wearing the same shit I was wearing like 7 years ago.
Like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Yeah, I had
That's the original question that gets you to clean your room and everything else.
that was what I had. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Right. And so room's still a mess because I was gonna do that after I cleaned my shower, but I cleared out a lot of my closet. I went in to clean my bathroom, right? And cleaning the sink, fine. Cleaning the toilet, fine. No problem, right? When I get into the shower, I had quite a bit of calcium buildup, right? And so something that you use to get rid of that is a product, or one product you can use to get rid of it is called Lime Away, right? And so I had Lime Away, and I was spraying off like the metallic shit, and then also like certain parts where it had an extra buildup, and I cleaned it off, right? I rinsed it down. I wiped it down with another thing, like another sponge or scouring pad, whatever the fuck it's called. Then I rinse it down again, right? Okay, cool, whatever. Then I go and use this shit called Soft Scrub. Now, Soft Scrub's primary cleaning agent is called bleach, as most people know, right?
Mhm.
So, what I was unaware of, right, and what a lot of mean people said online, was that if you mix Lime Away with bleach and water, it creates, or not Lime Away specifically, it's a chemical within it, but I forget what it's called off the top of my head.
Mhm.
When you mix the ingredient from Lime Away plus bleach plus water, it creates chlorine gas in a vapor.
Same exact thing as that was dropped in the trenches.
About as close as you can get, yeah.
Fucking
Because they
hell.
probably, they probably came up with a different way to make
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah,
like-
higher potency. And all
yeah,
that
exactly.
stuff.
But so I'm in my bathroom and I accidentally mix all this and it creates some vapors and I get hit with it, right? I'm like, shit! Like it's just immediately my nostrils are draining mucus and water,
Yeah,
Ooh.
like
that's-
immediately.
that's like as. Ugh.
yeah,
Imagine a sound wave, but like it's a scent.
like
and it
what
just
I would,
f's you up.
you know what I would actually say. What I would imagine it was like. Imagine if you had like a like a nasal spray, but had the force of an inhaler. And instead of it being like some medicated stuff, it was more of like a pepper spray,
Ooh.
like a really high strength pepper spray. And that was just all in my nose, in my sinuses, like in my lungs. And I'm like, jeez. So I step out, right?
Yeah.
I turn on my fan in my bathroom and I leave the door open for like 20 minutes. And then what I do is I go and I get a mask, like, right, just, you know, some mask to cover it, whatever. Stops hopefully something. And then I go back in and I keep cleaning, right? So I think it was that initial hit of the gas that like really messed me up for the, you know, the next 2 days to follow. But what followed afterwards was just I didn't sleep for like 32 hours because I was constantly draining mucus and like snot out of my nose. I was always sneezing. Like I sneezed like a dog like 4 times in a row, or sorry, 5 times in a row was my max. Just you know, like, and it hurts every time you sneeze because it's like your sinuses hurt and your lungs hurt. And I was like, Jesus, like, is this gonna end? I'm like, do I need to go to the ER? Like, it was that bad. And I read online, and a lot of people are like, your symptoms usually go away within 1 to 2 days. I also read some other people's things where they're like, my vocal cords got effed up from it. I can't speak regularly, and it's been 10 years later.
Holy shit.
They're probably in it.
Yeah, and they're like, I can't breathe properly as a result of it. And for them, that was a one-time exposure. So, you know, they just, I guess, got the full brunt of it. They just...
And it probably was more potent to them.
They're probably way healthier too.
I imagine with my circumstance, since I watered down, like, or at least got rid of the majority of the lime away, the result wasn't as bad as it could have been. But essentially, like, what could have happened was I could have built cysts that would have formed in my lungs, and they would have popped, and I would have drowned myself in my own blood. Like, yeah.
It's crazy. The human body's crazy, man. Like, and the world is crazy. Like, that was the last thing on your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't think twice of it, but
and it's just some damn chemicals.
And now,
like, you could literally be like, this. It could be a chemical used for glass, for example, and you just be like, oh, there's a spot in here. Let me rinse it, and then I'm just gonna use 2 products.
Yeah.
You'll never know that you're about to kill yourself.
In my defense, sorry, keep going.
No, I'm done.
Okay. In my defense, because I know people in the comment section are gonna say, it says on the bottle, don't mix with bleach. I know it says don't mix with bleach, right? It's a big label right on the front. But here's my defense, right? I had thought that by, you know, doing it, scrubbing it in, rinsing it, scrubbing it again, and then rinsing it again, I would have gotten rid of the majority of it, if not all of it, right? So I didn't think it was going to be a problem. Lo and behold, it was a problem.
But it lingered.
I guess so.
It was a damn problem.
General rule of thumb, try to not mix chemicals.
General rule of thumb,
in your fucking house.
We're not getting sponsored by Lime Away. Fuck that product. If you want to get rid of like calcium builds up in your shower, on your sink, you can use other products that aren't going to kill you. For example, like lime juice and I think baking soda mixed together will create like and vinegar. That's what it is. Thank you. Those 3 things mixed together, like they'll create some kind of paste, right? And if you just got a good scrubbing pad that isn't going to mess up your chrome, right, you can get the majority of that shit off, and it's not going to be a problem.
By the way, quick tip: if you guys run out of like Windex, a great alternative is literally grab the bottle, put a little bit of baking soda, water. Well, I would say more than half water, and then the rest of it would be vinegar.
I thought you were going to say Coca-Cola. I've heard that one a couple times. Like, if you're like really in a pinch and you don't even have baking soda, you could use like Coke or Pepsi as like a window cleiner.
Weird, because I would usually want to clean the Pepsi off the thing, not.
Yeah, but that's because the Pepsi dries. You wipe away, you wipe that shit off. And I'm not saying that's like, don't use that as a I heard like that shit, in passing, like some BS, whatever.
Okay,
but
I got you. But
I just heard through the grapevine.
I just imagine my table all sticky now, or my mirror's all like.
Well, if you wipe it off, there's nothing to make it sticky. So
we're just glad that you're alive and here to
exactly.
record episode
92.
92
I was
of the
this
podcast.
close to just being in the ER, like on a ventilator, like.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you actually at least rinsed it down twice.
Yeah, but that was that. Remember that discussion we were having earlier, where I'm like, I don't want to artificially prolong my lifespan. Like, for example, let's say in the future
it's a good topic.
They come up with some shit where it's like you can add 50 to 100 years onto your lifetime by doing X, Y, and Z. Like, a really good sci-fi example of that would be did you I know I watched some of it with, it was either you, I forget, but Altered Carbon.
Both of us.
Okay,
Yeah.
both of you. Okay, so you remember how the stacks work, right? Like
The
bodies
little
essentially
card here.
bodies essentially become this thing called a sleeve, and everything that you are is saved on that stack, right? So if you die and your stack doesn't get grenaded, right, you could just pull
Switch
that
it
out,
out.
put it into a new body, and you're good to
Yeah.
go.
Ah.
So I wouldn't want to do stuff like that. But I was talking to Zayd, and I'm like, I'm definitely okay with like replacing a knee or replacing a hip or like a joint of some kind with like a titanium or whatever.
But,
know,
yeah, something bionic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Yeah, bionic. Yeah, I might be okay with that too.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the circumstance. But like, what if it comes to my organs? Like, because I thought about that while I was in bed. I'm like, fuck. Like, if that had gotten as bad as it could have been, right? I don't want to artificially prolong my life, but at the same time, I'm 22 years old,
Mhm.
and I just killed myself over something really stupid.
Yeah.
Personally, I just think it
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
down to quality of life. Like, I could live 80, I could die at 80 years old as long as the life that I lived was like a good one. I was able to function properly, healthy. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
Why would you want to prolong it.
well,
It's-
you have a lot of
because then it's not a like
longevity dorks exist. Like, they're trying to biohack their way to like
Yeah.
being 120, 150 years old. It's like, okay,
I mean-
I kind of get it, but also your current lifestyle is shit.
Also, as ridiculous as this sounds, like that altered carbon idea, like if you can just put human, like your brain essentially onto that little stem, like that's the best way to do it, because the
Yeah.
only problem with us really is the decay of the body. So if you want to prolong it forever, you'd have to go down that Neuralink advantage if they manage to
that's true.
make a map of your entire brain and store it on a 4 terabyte hard
Yeah.
drive. Like, that would be not the easiest, but the best realistic way to do it, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm just picturing it like in the future. Can you imagine? It's kind of like iCloud.
Yeah.
Like something will pop up and be like, "Hey, do you want to prolong for $4.99 a month?"
iCloud Plus.
Be like,
We'll let you save.
Let me check this out. Let me sign in with my iCloud account.
We'll let you save 100 extra memories for $6.99.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And then you purchase it, and then it says storage full.
That might.
I'm done. Storage full.
Could you imagine
Cut
you're
me
like
off.
you're walking,
Just-
you're watching your son or your daughter, your child's first steps, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like something pops up in your eyes and it's like memory storage full. Like,
Yeah, you're like, oh God, I can't view anymore.
You're like, what the?
Yeah. Thank you, Elon.
But it's crazy to think about, because there are a lot of scientists who treat aging as a disease. They view it from the lens of disease, and they want to try to reverse engineer it so that they could extend lifespan.
I mean, if you think about it, it kind of is.
And they're making progress.
Yeah.
Crazy enough to think about, but at the same time, when you look at most people, for example, in the US,
Mhm.
I mean, they're struggling a lot with health. And it begs the question, like, why would I extend lifespan why would you want to extend lifespan to the majority of people if their current quality of life is terrible? And the argument is, okay, if you can solve for aging, then you can solve for chronic disease. But we clearly know that you can't just give somebody a pill to solve that.
So
They have to
what
change their
What
lifestyle.
I'm getting from what you're saying is that usually people that are that have healthier lifestyles are not going to want to prolong. Like, is that
No,
what you're
it's
trying
not.
to
It's
say?
usually not on their.
There's not on the radar. kind
Not
of
as well. I mean, then again, I would imagine people who are living an unhealthy lifestyle really don't care about how long they live for the majority. If you want to argue that, right? Like if you're living a super unhealthy lifestyle, I think
But-
subconsciously, to a degree, you have to
Mhm.
realize that this has negative
Mhm.
impacts.
Yeah.
thing. You have to know what part of health are we talking about? Mental
Everything.
health,
Everything.
things like that.
Because it's all
Like,
connected.
That I would agree with.
I
Zayd
mean,
on that.
yes, it is all connected.
Because
but-
I mean,
For example, just because I'm unhealthy, like my body's unhealthy, and I'm just gaining more and more weight.
Mm-hmm.
But I am doing as much as I can to be psychologically leveled and balanced, and just making sure that I do the necessary things for me to function properly, right? That it could balance out.
but in
I
the lens
disagree.
of what Zayd is talking about, or like what the scientists that Zayd's referring to are talking about, is that if you have that extra weight, what that's doing is it's taxing your bodily systems, right? It's putting more of a strain on your heart, your cardiovascular, your pulmonary systems, like your ability to potentially fight off diseases. What it does give you is great impact. Like it gives you a higher resistance to impact damages or blunt force damages.
But
Which it's true.
Yeah, but it's
But
such
that-
a fucked
no,
up
but that-
lens of view.
That
like,
doesn't prolong your life. What I'm
No.
saying is you're more able to take a hit.
Sure.
And that's about it. Like
That's it.
if you have if you have a healthy mind and you're at that weight, like, I mean, that's not going to do much for you. But if you want to talk about the opposite of that, if you don't weigh a lot and your mind is,
Messed up.
down in the gutter,
Yeah.
right? That could F you up potentially more than being severe, or not severely, but like minorly overweight, right? Like, I think it's been proven at this point, if I'm not mistaken, that high elevated levels of stress can tax your cardio system. It can also has a higher chance of, growing tumors, other cancerous shit.
See how it's kind of just natural? It's like, in a sense, it's natural, and I'll relate it to a car. If you load a car up with 15 tons of bricks,
Like a truck.
yeah, like let's just say a freaking Prius, right? Do you think your Prius is now gonna get efficient gas mileage?
No. It's just gonna slow
So
you down.
it's laid out for you.
Well,
kinda.
it's also going to it's going to give you worse gas mileage. It's going to mess up your suspension
It's
a lot
fucking
quicker. It's going
Prius.
to cause a lot more damage
Mhm.
much sooner than it would be if you
and
didn't
maybe
have those
maybe
bricks
most
in
of the
there.
weight is leaning to the left, so now it's even like, I don't know, like,
And to your point of like, does it balance out? I disagree. I don't think it does, because, like I said, everything is connected. I mean, sure, there are some oddballs who are quote unquote mentally healthy and they're overweight / obese, but I would say those people are extremely rare.
yeah. No, for me, I don't know. I wouldn't claim it just because then you're claiming every single body. You know what I mean? We don't know that. But on a larger scale, yeah. I mean, that does make sense. What I'm saying is that nature still takes its course. Like, it's just the way it is.
For what you're talking about, I would argue that the overwhelming majority of people who are overweight, if they had a healthy mind, right, it's not going to benefit them necessarily in the long run.
Fun fact for you that I learned yesterday, actually. Within the gut, 95%, and this was a study, 95% of the serotonin that your body secretes is produced within your gut. 5% is from your brain. So you have that direct connection from your body to your mind. So it makes sense that, the majority of people are not going to be mentally healthy when they're...
Because as crazy as this sounds, I mean, you have to almost look at food, or at least food how we make it today, as a drug in like a weird sense,
100%.
right? Because what you just said, if 95% of your serotonin is produced in your stomach and only 5% is produced by the brain, essentially what you're doing is just feeding that addiction, literally and metaphorically, like constantly, Because if you got like, I don't know, what's something that would produce a lot of serotonin? Like, let's just say you go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, you get like quarter pounder, cheese, you get some fries,
Add some Big Mac sauce.
Big Mac sauce, you get a shake because fuck it, I've been doing well this week.
Well, it doesn't produce serotonin. That produces dopamine.
Dopamine, okay.
Serotonin is the quote unquote happy chemical that makes you feel satisfied and fulfilled with life, or whatever. But
Oh, so like achieving a goal.
when you eat, you have sugar, for example, or a Big Mac, that produces dopamine, which is completely different from serotonin.
So that would be, where's the majority of the dopamine created then? In the brain, I would imagine?
I would imagine, the brain.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean, psychology 101, dopamine.
But when you eat something like that and it goes into your gut, it produces a net negative effect because it just downregulates all of the serotonin within your gut.
So serotonin, that could be, what the hell? That's
Think of
actually
like when
very
you
weird.
when you expose your face and body to
You
sunshine.
just feel happy.
That's serotonin.
Oh,
Upregulation
okay.
of
that's
serotonin.
That's not
Very
dopamine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dopamine is very. Dopamine is like.
Imagine
Dopamine is like, I get a notification. Dopamine.
No, imagine serotonin
Okay.
is like the more profound. Like, imagine dopamine and serotonin are like brother and sister, right? Or let's just say like two brothers for this instance, right? Dopamine is the one who's bouncing off the walls, wants you to do crazy shit.
Yo, that's dope. You
No,
know,
he's
like, yeah,
dopamine
dope.
wants
Yeah.
you to do scare or like things that are potentially inherently bad for you,
Thrill. Yeah.
right? And then serotonin is like the very chi Zen oriented
Yeah, it's a
brother
very
of the two.
it's a certain tone, you know, like a.
I had a feeling it was gonna bust out.
It's the certain.
It just strikes a chord.
Hey, no, but I'm serious. Like this helps me memorize it too.
Mhm.
Honestly, that's just my method of like doing things. You find something that just you link with that you
Mhm.
created, you follow it up with whatever the word is.
Yeah.
It just sticks to you.
Yeah.
Setting the serotonin
Yeah.
and then you've got the dopamine.
Yeah. See what I mean? It's a joke right now, but I'm gonna pull it out like a flashcard.
I'm
dude.
gonna whip it out.
And after I read that fact or that study, I was like, I somehow found some comment. I think it was on Instagram, and this chick was like, "Oh, this proves that food makes you happy, so I'm just gonna eat whatever I want." Something along those
What
lines.
kind of an argument even is that?
It was such a stupid comment that
Do
I
you
wanted
understand?
to reply, but I just like no.
Bro, thank you for not replying because
No.
don't waste your time.
There's certain people that you just don't want to get involved with.
But
so.
that is funny. See,
Yeah.
that is funny. The more you laugh,
No, you know what? You should have responded to that and just said, "Yeah, food does make people happy."
Yeah.
And just leave it at
but
that.
it also wants to make you kill yourself too.
it
could go both
That's
ways.
not how this works, young lady.
No, I mean, like, think about it though. Like, there definitely is a dependency. Well, obviously, there's a dependency on food, but like a dependency on like unhealthy shit. Like, you know, like if you take fast food away from somebody who eats it consistently, like on a weekly basis or maybe even daily basis.
They go through withdrawals,
Oh yeah, just
headaches, energy level dips.
like anybody, like for example, like quitting coffee.
Mhm.
Yeah. Here's a good example. So one of my friends is 6'3" or 6'4", but he's a big guy, right?
But 6'6" on Tinder.
He was over the weight that he wanted to be, so he started his journey.
His health journey.
And obviously he eats a lot. You know, whether he's training or not, he eats a lot. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So to me, he would just always talk about like his goal, right? And when we would be hanging out, he's like, dude, oh, let's go get this. 2 hours later, let's get this. An hour and a half later, let's go buy this. And there's all food, by the way.
Damn.
I can't keep up. I'm just like, dude, what the hell? I only eat like once every 4 hours. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Something, whether it's a snack or a meal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I'm good. He's like, come on, bro. Just, well, at least come with me. You know, just come with me to pick up the food. I'm like, okay, fine. But like, and then in my head, I started thinking, I'm like, dude, how do you not have control of your eating? Like, can't you tell yourself to stop? And I asked him one day, and I was like, hey, why don't you just tell your body to shut up? And he's like, no, I have to eat. Like I have to eat. And I was like, no, you're telling yourself you have to eat.
Well,
Like
a lot
I
of
don't
things go into
understand
that.
it.
Well, that's
But
also,
here's the thing. There's
Okay.
a lot of things. This got me to think, man, I need to just shift my perspective every once in a while and understand things from the other side. I've been
Mhm.
skinny my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
true.
cannot just be like this, that. That makes no sense. It's just gonna. I guess like now it's slowly starting to make sense that their body signals differently than my body does.
Exactly.
That has to do with leptin,
So
ghrelin,
that
all
feels
of the...
like the norm, where it's every hour I should be eating.
That's like telling somebody, can't you just tell your body to stop smoking cigarettes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
You gotta
That's like-
physically like you have to, and it's painful. Like if I starve myself, yeah, it hurts, but I mean I've done it and it's fine, and you know
Can't
I
you
can
tell your
prolong it.
body to stop using heroin? Just say no.
Yeah, just
Just
say no.
stop.
The whole
Oh,
dare
that
program.
reminds me
Yeah,
of
literally.
the tweet that went out like 2016, and it was like some chick named Becky, and then she was like, "Hey ISIS, just stop."
Oh.
And then some guy
Please.
named Mahmoud was like, he's like, "Oh my God, she did it, guys! She ended
Just stop terrorism.
it. She ended terrorism."
Becky stopped terrorism with one
She's
tweet.
like, "Hey ISIS, just stop."
If only it was like
Terrorists
that.
hate this one simple trick.
That the world doesn't want you to know. Has anyone oh, hold on. This might be a crazy thought, but has anyone told them to just stop? Imagine.
Can you guys
That
like?
is amazing.
Can you
Yeah.
guys just not do that anymore? That'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Like, please. It's really annoying. Like, what the what kind of a logic even is that? You know what that is? You know what that is?
Mm-mm.
That's just pure. Look at me. This is how smart I think I am. Give me attention. Like,
No, what did we mention earlier? That's
literal dumbness.
literal dumbness. That's what I'm going to
that's
title
literal
this
dumbness.
That
episode.
is literal
Yeah.
dumbness.
The literal dumbness episode.
Okay. That works for me, dude. And you guys, anything else you guys want to touch up on?
Yeah, I just want to tell Kim Jong Un to stop stop starving your people. I want to tell
Yeah.
China to stop oppressing your people.
Bro, are you for
Stop trying to
obesity
take over the
or
world.
against it, man? Come on, like, make up your mind. I'm kidding.
I just wanted to say thank you for joining us and listening to our literal dumbness for this entire episode 92.
Hey, don't you dare call it
Mixed with
literal, though.
wisdom.
This is primo stuff right here. Okay, guys, you can find us at the 2 a.m.
Oh,
podcast.
Zayd's about to catch fists after this
Oh,
podcast.
hell no. But before that, let me close this off. You can find us on YouTube now at the 2 a.m. podcast. We also have a Clips channel at the 2 a.m. Clips, so check us out. We are also on your favorite social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and many more.
Oh.
Don't forget to follow us, rate, subscribe, like, comment, turn on bell notifications. Jesus.
Turn on the bowl notifications.
Or that.
Dun, 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 dun.
And yeah, guys, we will see you next time. For now, peace.